What's going on YouTube? OCD for EDC here, and what I got for your face balls today, we're going to do a little how-to video. Hopefully it'll be a pretty quick one, but it might be some info that you guys are interested in. Before I get into that though, I've got a package here that we're going to open up, and I'm pretty confident that this is a knife that I did a little trade for. By the way, I'm going to use my Maximet Para 3 here for a little unboxing. You want to check out the CME, go check it out on OCDforedc.com. Sorry about the light here. I'm just, I was thinking that it wasn't on, but it was. So anyway, let's get this box open here and see what we're working with. So, we've got this right here. There's some trash. See what we got. Got some bubble wrap, and we've got this right here. This is taped, so let me get that squared away. That's pretty cool. Got a little red and gray ribbon there, which is pretty cool. And this is all taped up. There we go. Get this thing out of here. There it is. Got in there. All right, what do we got? Obviously, you guys recognize the box. Right on. He also sent a little Three Rivers Manufacturing tie tag, dog tag, which is pretty cool. A little piece of titanium, and it's got the super cool Three Rivers laser etched logo on the back. Now, that'll be cool. So I can actually laser etch this and anodize it, and we have some dogs. So that's pretty cool. I'm sure Molly will love that. And here is the knife. Got some poison for the trolls, and here it is. This is the M4 JG10 Smock, which I just did a trade for, and I traded this knife along with a little bit of money for the Shemp Tough. So very, very cool, and you guys will see some more with this coming up very soon. So thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that, and thank you very much for the dog tag. That's really cool. So yeah, we will put this to good use. All right, is this one right here. This is the Sheepdog XL that I showed off in a previous video. I heavily modified this knife. We got textured and dyed micarta. All the hardware has been bronzed. The the standoffs, the clip, the liners, the blade has all been acid washed. I put this blade hole in it, as well as reprofiled the blade to where it's about 9 to 10 thousandths behind the edge. And before we get into what we're going to be doing here, I did do a little stropping on this blade. This is 154 cm, so we'll see if we made any improvements and see what kind of an edge we got on this thing right now. So it is very, very thin behind the edge, which is very nice. This thing is going to be a performance beast, but let's see what we're working with real quick. $85 on the old sharpness tester. We'll give her one more go just because it's a really long blade, and see where we're at. There's a lot of cutting area on this one, so there we go. All right. We'll go just a little bit further back, see how we're doing back there. Oh, we're doing a little better there. It's 45. So yeah, it's a little bit, I don't know if I got a little bit of a burr right there in the middle or something, didn't get it cleaned off, but yeah, she's sharp, that's for damn sure. So anyway, really, really sharp edge on this knife, which is great. However, one thing I don't like about this knife right at the moment is the detent is just a little bit too stiff for finger deployment. I mean, you can do it, but it takes quite a bit of finger strength to get it to fly out there. And so I'm going to lighten up the detent before I ship it out. So I advertised in the video I posted previously that this knife was for sale, and it lasted about 30 seconds and it was gone. But I figured I'd use this opportunity to show you guys how I would go about lightening the detent on something like this. And there are multiple different ways to do that. Now, originally this knife, was designed and the detent was engineered for a flipper tab, which you can generate a lot more torque effectively on the detent mechanism by utilizing that flipper tab. When you make a knife, a thumb stud or a finger flicker like this, an opening hole, the detent needs to be lighter in order to accommodate that comfortably. So I'm going to get into it here and show you how I'm going to go about doing that. And like I said, there's multiple ways that you can affect the tension on a detent. The easiest way to do that is to change the tension on the lock bar. So in this case, we're talking about a liner lock, but whether it's a liner lock or a frame lock, the idea is basically the same. And so you can, just bend the lock bar over to where it has more tension or less tension, depending on. Let's get these screws out of here and the pivot collar. Okay. Oh, and I also put a detent ramp in this blade, which you can see right there. All right, let me get the bearing out of there. There we go. We'll just set it there for right now. And we'll wipe the oil off of this. So there you go. There you can see the detent ramp and the area that is not acid etched for the detent and the detent hole right there. Now, like I said, you could release some tension on the lock bar itself. So in order to do that, I'd have to take the clip out of here so I have the liner itself and just bend the lock bar over a little bit. But then you can also run into the issue that you don't have secure lockup. So depending on what you're going for, that could be a good method. But in this case here, what we're really concerned about, and the way that, for those that don't know how a detent works, you can see here we've got a ceramic ball that is pressed into the steel liner lock right there. And that ball lines up with this little hole right here. And so when the blade is in the closed position, that ball lines up in the hole. And in order to open the blade, you have to pop that ball up out of the hole. And what we're going to do is we're going to soften the edges on this hole ever so slightly. Now, a little bit goes a long way here. So if you attempt this, don't get carried away, because you can absolutely destroy the action on your knife. Ask me how I know. But the way that I do this, so this here is a DMT diamond rod. This is for sharpening serrations and things like that, but it works really well for getting into small areas. This is just like a pencil style holder. But so what I want to do is I only want to soften the hole on the bottom side where the ball comes up out of there. And all I'm going to do is take this diamond rod and just ever so slightly work that edge just a little bit. Now, when you do this for the first couple of times, you're probably going to have to do it, like I said, you don't want to go too far. So you may have to, do this and then assemble the knife and then do it again. And, it might be a little bit of a process of disassembly and reassembly to make sure you get it get it right. But once you get it right, it yeah, will make a huge improvement in the action of your knife, and you can dial it in right where you want it. And so in this case here, all I'm doing is just knocking down that square edge just a tiny bit right where the ball comes out. And then, you know, right now the ball's too tight in the hole. Okay, so I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but you can see just ever so slightly that I softened that edge right there on the hole. Might go just a tiny bit more. But like I said, it doesn't take much. So for your first time, you want to, you know, go just a tiny bit and then put it back together and check it and make sure that you haven't gone too far. Okay. Yeah, I think that's going to work. In a previous video, while I'm here, I might as well talk about this as well. I don't know if you'll be able to see or not, but if you look at the edge of the nylon here, the washer or the bearing carrier, there's always a bit of what's called die tear, but the edges of the washer or the nylon are not perfectly square. And that's just a function of when they got stamped out. So you can see that this one kicks off like this a little bit. So effectively, that top edge of the radius is smaller than the bottom edge. And so the way that I do this, that smaller radius, if you have a bearing pocket on the blade and in the handle, so like this one, where we have a bearing pocket on both surfaces, then it's not quite as important. But in a lot of knives, you'll have a bearing pocket on one surface and not on the other. So like either the liners or the blade, one of them will be flat and there'll be a pocket on the other. I always put that smaller side in the pocket just so you don't have any friction between the outer edge of the bearing race and what it's, you know, the blade and or the liner. So I think that came up in a video here not long ago, and we never really talked about the details of that, but that's what's going on there. So I've got a little KPL heavy here. We'll throw a little bit in that detent hole just like that. And I'll put just a tiny bit on the ramp just for good measure. Okay. And then you've heard me say this before, but I always like to assemble and disassemble a knife with the show side down, just like this right here. So when you have to hold that against that lock bar tension, you know, you're not building from the other way around to where you have to constantly hold down that lock bar tension while you're building your sandwich up. It's just the way that I do it. It works out extremely well. So, you know, just little tips and tricks, if you will. But get these screws in here and see how we did to improve our action. And again, you know, in this case, I mean, the action would have been great on this one for a flipper, but because it I've changed it from a flipper to a spidey flicking or thumb deployment, it's definitely better than what it was. It's real snappy. I think I'm probably gonna leave it right there. Oh yeah, yep, yeah, because it'll also break in a little bit. So I definitely, oh yeah, it's already started to break in a little bit, and I may have the pivot a little too tight. There we go. Oh yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah, this thing is sweet. And once, you know, it's just strong enough that once you get it to fly out, it comes flying out. So, you know, it's not like a big risk of failing it, which is perfect. And it works great for thumb deployment as well. It does take a little bit of effort with the finger deployment, but it also flips reliably, and that's what you're looking for. So there you go, guys. That's how you soften the detent on a knife. And like I said, there's multiple ways you can do that, but for this application, in my opinion anyway, that was the best way to do it, and I achieved exactly what I was going for. So there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. We'll catch you next time. I'm gone.